This morning on DC News Now, it's a wet start to our Thursday. We're tracking this cold front sliding through, and that's providing us with that wet weather. Now, these rain showers will subside, and we'll see drier conditions later on today and a warm up of all these details coming up. Also coming up this morning, a deadly double shooting on a busy street in DC. What we're learning about the innocent bystander caught in the crossfire.
Plus, a potentially life-saving cost cut for people with diabetes. A change is coming for those who rely on insulin from drug maker Eli Lilly.
And new details more than a week after a man was shot and killed by police at Tyson's Corner Center. Why the NAACP is speaking out.
The station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
All right, it's 6 o'clock on this Thursday morning. I think you're feeling musical, right?
I know, my phone just started going. I picked it up to see what time it was, and I hit a button, and it just started going off.
Okay, Leona.
Oh my goodness. It's a funny video.
It is a cute video.
I'm going to share that.
Put it on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
All right, good morning.
I wonder if I can. Good morning. I'm Tanira. You know what? Speaking of, follow that Facebook page. Jackie, people are already sharing photos with you this morning. I know. I love to see it. And I know that we were talking about what was in the night sky last night, Jupiter, and we have that picture up on there. So thank you for sending that in. But again, out there this morning, can't really see too much of the planets right now. Yeah, we're seeing clouds and also some wet weather. But thankfully, we will dry things out as we get towards later on this afternoon. Radar, though, out there right now, we are lighting things up with some lightning strikes out there, especially across parts of Maryland. We're talking over towards St. Charles, even over towards Lexington Park. We are starting off with that thunderstorm activity that has since pushed its way farther off towards our north and east. Now we're starting to notice some lighter rain showers starting to pass their way through. Also did see a few of those showers slide through DC not too long ago. Now we're seeing some lighter rain showers across parts of northern Virginia. Off towards the north, we're talking 4 state regions. Some of that wet weather sliding through at this point right around Hagerstown and about to move into Frederick yet again. Now this is the reason why is this cold front that's sliding through, but behind it we are seeing the drier conditions, but still the clouds will linger through much of the day. Temperatures right now mild. Later on this afternoon we'll see those highs mid-upper 60s, but that's not sticking around for our Friday. I have more details on that coming up. But Tosin is here with the on-point traffic update. How are those roads right now?
I think those wet streets are starting to cause some problems, but not in Maryland so far. What you're taking a look at, it's 495 at Cherry Hill. Traffic starting to build, but no complaints over there. Still in Maryland, this is the Baltimore Parkway by 193. Smooth sailing there. Traffic beginning to build this morning. We're going to show you DC. Right now you can see some red and yellow starting to pop. 295 at the Anacostia Freeway is starting to be jammed up, so be aware of that if that's an area you're going to take this morning. Still in DC, this is at Kenilworth and Eastern Avenue. As you can see, traffic starting to build, but nothing to complain about in that direction. And if you're going to hit the roads, here are some of your drive times.
All right, Tosin, thank you. And your Know and Go headlines this morning. A man is dead and a woman recovering in the hospital after a shooting late last night in Northwest D.C. It happened at the corner of V Street and 14th Street. Our Alex Wars is live in just a moment with more on what we know from police.
And 3 teenagers are recovering this morning after a suspected overdose. It happened yesterday at Ballston Quarter Mall in Arlington. Now, all 3 were taken to the hospital.
Drug maker Eli Lilly says it is cutting costs for insulin by capping out-of-pocket costs for the life-saving drug at $35. President Biden praised the decision, calling for other insulin manufacturers to do the same. The change starts now. All right, 6:02 is your time right now. Right now, police are investigating after a man was shot and killed near 14th Street in Northwest D.C. Our Lex Wars is live at the corner where this all happened. And Lex, a woman who was an innocent bystander, also shot.
Yeah, Corey, that's right. And investigators are still out here on the scene this morning. You know, they're trying to figure out exactly who was behind the trigger, but one thing they do know is that there was more than one gun involved and a lot of shell casings left behind. Now, you can see investigators still here this morning. Police say that a man was shot in the stomach and a woman who was walking down the street was hit in the leg. The man later died at the hospital. That woman is expected to be okay. Now, cars were parked on the side of the road and the apartment buildings over here, they were also hit with bullets, and it happened around 9:30 at night. That's a really busy time of night, especially for this area of the city when normally everything is bustling around here. Now, police are doing all they can now to find whoever was involved.
These suspects, whoever they are, when we find them, just brazenly fired weapons in the middle of a street in a busy near a busy intersection at a fairly early time in the night.
Well, as the investigation continues, police are asking for help from anyone who saw or was around the area at the time and can give them any more information. And district commander says that while they're still out here on the scene, what they're doing, of course, going through the scene, picking up those shell casings, looking to see exactly what happened, but they're really trying to get any video that they can from nearby businesses, from the apartments around here, and anybody who was in the area. So, of course, as they have any updates from the scene here or from their investigation, we're going to let you know both here and online. But for now, live on 14th Street, I'm Lex Suarez, DC News Now.
All right, Lex, thank you. Developing now, NAACP Fairfax County branch members say they were shocked after police killed an unarmed black man last week.
That's right. Police chased Timothy Johnson into the woods just outside of Tyson's Corner Center. They say the incident started over stolen sunglasses. Fairfax County police say their officers demanded Johnson get on the ground. When he did not, the officers fired their guns. Johnson was hit in the chest. He later died at the hospital. The Fairfax County NAACP put out a list of demands. First, they want an independent investigation into Johnson's death. Second, they want the body camera footage to be released immediately. Police say they will release it within 30 days. They also want the names and complaints history of the officers who were involved. They want a review of all other recent instances where officers fired their guns. And lastly, they want the implementation of a foot pursuit policy, which tells officers when they can or cannot pursue a suspect on foot after a crime. Now, we were able to speak with Johnson's mother earlier this week. She says it has been difficult to find the right way to mourn.
I feel like as a mom, I've been deprived an opportunity to grieve because I can't just say, oh, I'm a mom being notified that her son has passed away or that her child has passed away. And so that's a different grief process in itself. And then you have all of this other cultural injustice, social injustice type of element attached to it. And so not to try to get caught up in all of that, and then all of these unanswered questions, and then the police layer and all of that. So it just has deprived me of an opportunity to grieve.
The police department's Internal Affairs Bureau is investigating along with an independent review by the police auditor according to their policy. Fairfax NAACP is holding a community Zoom meeting next Thursday to discuss policing in the county.
And this morning, 3 teenagers are recovering after suspected drug overdose in Arlington. It happened yesterday at Boston Quarter. Now, officials say officers gave Narcan to 2 of the teens. All 3 were taken to the hospital. Right now, data shows annual overdose deaths in Virginia have more than doubled since 2019. And hundreds of parents and teachers, they're speaking out, addressing D.C. council members about ongoing bus issues for their kids and students.
That is right. This happened during a public hearing session yesterday. One of the main issues, canceled and delayed bus services for students with disabilities. The D.C. agency in charge of the service blames staffing shortages for the dozens of daily impacted routes. Parents say the problem is frustrating and leads to a loss of learning. They also say it's a safety hazard.
It's not fair. It's not fair that we do not have consistency for our children. I feel that leadership and the powers that be that make those decisions at the top should have an effective contingency plan in place.
There's another meeting set for Friday. D.C. education leaders are expected to respond to the complaints.
And a plan to make D.C. Metro buses free to ride is now in jeopardy. Officials say they may not have the money to support it. According to the city, D.C. tax revenue could drop nearly $500 million in the coming years. Now, some riders who depend on Metrobus to get around are not happy with the potential change.
Back and forth to school, and also for my daughter, her daycare. No, especially for elderly people, they need this transportation because it's hard to get around in D.C. to most places, especially for elderly people.
D.C. Chairman Phil Mendelson and Councilmember Charles Allen released a joint statement that says the council's job is not the CFO's job to decide how to spend their dollars. And happening now, millions of families struggling to put food on the table will no longer have extra food stamps. This week, the federal government cut off emergency SNAP benefits giving during the pandemic. For 3 years, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program gave families at least an extra $95 each month. Now, food distribution centers across the country are preparing for a rise in the number of families in need of help. The Alexandria, Virginia-based nonprofit Alive says it has been making sure shelves stay stocked for families in need. Volunteers tell us many people who struggled during the pandemic are now struggling with inflation, and organizers believe this month could get extremely busy.
Kind of a different ballgame now than it was back then, but I think we're still feeling, the cumulative effects of all of these years of uncertainty and instability and reduced income in already vulnerable communities.
Today, Alive is opening its second location on Mount Vernon Avenue in Alexandria to help keep up with the demand.
In our health news this morning, drug maker Eli Lilly is capping the out-of-pocket cost of insulin at $35 per month. It will also lower the price of its most commonly prescribed insulin products by 70%. The move is something experts say other drug makers could follow. Virginia Senator Tim Kaine says this is a smart play.
Wayne Gretzky says, don't skate to where the puck is, skate to where the puck's going. And Eli Lilly has decided they're going to skate to where the puck's going.
More than 8 million Americans with diabetes rely on insulin. Eli Lilly is one of the 3 drug makers that dominate the insulin market. All right, well, lawmakers in Maryland are pushing for more regulation on diet pills for teens.
Yeah, supporters of the new bill say the supplements fuel eating disorders. Now, lawmakers in Maryland are pushing to put a stop to this dangerous dieting practice. The goal of the bill is to ban people under the age of 18 from purchasing these types of pills. It would also require the Maryland Department of Health to create warnings about potential health risks. One woman is standing with lawmakers to make the change.
If I could go back and not take those diet pills and not easily buy them as a teenager, I definitely would not. I feel like I really didn't have a childhood because of what I was doing.
This also raises awareness about an industry that for so long has gone unchecked.
The bill still needs to pass through the State House and Senate before heading to the governor's office. It could go into effect this October.